There you go.
Yeah.
Damn.
So,
2.5 hours
2.5 hours
per visit?
built in, yes.
Dang.
I believe my kids do 2.5 hours and 2 times out of the month. Oh, here I am, like I work for
Shit, I
them.
want to join.
Yeah, mine goes mainly. Yeah, and 2 times out of the month on a Saturday from 5:30 to 8:30, you leave your kids and it's built into your membership, and they do an event. So they don't have, they just have like a.
So you don't even go to babysitter club. Just go leave them there.
Oh, I do, and then go have drinks like somewhere nearby. Yeah. So nice.
Yeah, it's gonna get better soon.
Networking.
All right.
We may have Shane and Jenny still coming. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. This is kind of a long one, not too long, but it's very important. Buyer conversion is probably one of the best lessons, and kind of the reason we put it towards the back. Once you kind of see what momentum's all about and kind of get an idea of what it's all about, it's about structure, and it's about having a finite list of responsibilities and activities that you need to participate in. So it'll come across a little bit easier, but buyer conversion is super duper important. Always has been to me, because I feel like you can waste your time with buyers if they're not focused, if you're not on the same page. So getting them in the office and getting on the same page with them, especially right now, like if you don't have exactly what your buyers are looking for, it's hard enough to find a house for them. So if you don't have exactly what they're looking for, you're kind of spinning your wheels and wasting time and maybe missing out on the one that they would actually buy. So I think it's even more important than ever. So we'll just jump right into it. So the purpose of this course is to teach an intentional, proactive, and focused approach for helping buyers find and purchase their perfect home. Expectation: upon completing this class, you should feel confident enough to enter into working relationships with serious buyers. So result: 9 to 64 additional closings. So the plan is you want to have open houses, do networking and farming. You want to bring in new leads, plug those buyers into your client care system, and then market back on just sold. So prospecting and referral and repeat business. Buyer conversion teaches associates the 5 stages of effectively working with buyers. You'll learn to facilitate buyer conversations, identify appropriate properties, prepare showing packages, show homes, overcome common buyer hesitations, and close sales. This class is designed to turn a typical agent into a highly respected and sought after buyer's consultant. Plan scripts and tools are provided. So as you can see, the financial security of an effective lead converter. So if each week you work 45 weeks out of the year, you set 1 new appointment. If 50% of those appointments show up, you get 23 meetings. 50% of those end up qualifying to buy a home, you get 12 new buyers. If 75% of those buy, 9 additional closings. So as you get more and more proficient and generate more, it could give you, I don't know who would have time to work 64 buyers in a year. Like the most deals that I've ever closed in a year was 63. And it was about 60% listings and 40% buyers. And man, I think I lost 20 pounds that year just running around. That's a lot of work. And I had one licensed assistant who stayed in the office. That was it. It was just me. Like I was in the field, boots on the ground, dealing with these people. It was crazy. I didn't take a vacation that year. Made a hell of a lot of money though, but not much else.
I don't know how you manage that.
I don't either. Looking back.
A long time ago, and it wore me out, dude. And I lost a lot of family time too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God. Yeah. I don't even. Yeah. I don't even know what happened that year. Like it was just a blur, but worked out. I think that was 2014, maybe. Something like that. 2013, 2014. Yeah. 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 So and the thing is, it wasn't quite the freaking, the technology that we have today. It wasn't quite there. Like today, it'd be easier. Like last year, I didn't hardly meet anybody. DocuSign everything, Zoom meetings. Yeah, that too. Yeah. And now they're working from home. So yeah, it's a little easier nowadays to do more. But people's expectations have gone up too, I think, a little bit. So you gotta take care of them a little bit better. That too. Yeah, you gotta stay ahead of them a little bit, right? All right. So the know, the do, and the have. You want to convert buyers using a relationship-based selling method. So you want to know the meeting dialogue, meeting 1, showing dialogue, closing dialogue, justification dialogue, and the lowball dialogue, especially now, right? You want to have a criteria sheet. We'll talk about all this. We'll go through it. My role, your role, a buyer's rep agreement, a sales contract, an addenda, letterhead, and note cards. Okay, so some core beliefs we talked about before. They and they keep reading them. Seven vital buyer responsibilities. Your only limit is time. Since there is a limited amount of time, you must define the vital responsibilities in order to identify the activities necessary for maximum output in your buyer division. So the seven vital buyer responsibilities. Of course, lead generation, conversion, which we're going to get into today, number 2. Administrative prep, showings, writing and negotiating offers, closing preparation, and your post-closing marketing activities. All right, so we're going to go through this again. You guys have seen it, and I guess they just keep throwing it at you to just keep reiterating how important it is and how finite it is. So lead generation, we talked about a couple things here: networking and farming, doing open houses, yard signs and home ads, internet ads, and just listed. I was watching that thing about the Craigslist killer on Real TV the other day. It was kind of like, it was when Craigslist kind of first came out. This guy, what he was doing, he was offering like a farm, like he was trying to get some guy to come in there and like manage his farm for him and stay in a house. And what he'd do, he'd meet him out at this property and shoot him and rob him. So he did it to like 3 people, and then he finally got caught. I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, Craigslist is still kind of stigmatized to me.
Because of that, yeah.
And then of course, just listed for buyers. So as soon as you get that listing, probably right now, it's even more important to do those door knocks, go around the neighborhood, try to double end it. That's the best chance you have of closing a buyer, is to get them into your listing, right? Okay, so 2 through 6, this is what we're going to cover today in a lot of detail. What's that? Oh. Space bar? No, it's on 2 different ones. Oh, there you go. Okay, administrative prep. So a thank you letter after the first meeting. Create your own buyer file. We'll go through all this again. The meeting in the office, very important for a second meeting. Then getting into the car after everything's been verified. Writing and negotiating offers. Closing prep. Post-closing activities. As you can see, most of it's marketing. So if you had a good experience, mail a customer survey. Nowadays you text like the link to Zillow or whatever, wherever they have to go, right, to do your review. If you had a good experience. If it was a bad experience, you don't want that review, trust me. It's hard to get rid of it. You want to have 5-star reviews. So anybody who's not going to give you a 5-star review, be careful. Okay, so results by design. So buyer department basics, mission: to ensure buyers who work with me get the home they want and want the home they get. Vision: serious buyers taking an intentional, proactive, and focused approach to finding and purchasing their perfect home. The model to use is a relationship-based selling model, working as a team. Approach: first you want to have a meeting, confirm status, and determine direction. Then you want to make sure they get with a lender to establish their leverage. Research: identify appropriate options for them. Show them those properties. Offer: nowadays, the question is, not before it was, well, what do you think we should offer now? It's how much over asking do we offer? A little bit different. It'll go back to normal. What's going to happen is they're going to flood the market with properties. People are going to overprice them. They're not going to sell. People are going to come back down on price. It's going to go back to normal.
Yeah, what do you think that's gonna happen?
They say before probably a month or 2, I would give it.
Really? You think this?
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, because supposedly the first round of foreclosures are going to hit like in June, July. I already bought one. I bought a foreclosure. Well, I'm under contract, so I'll close in about 2 weeks. But it's Wells Fargo foreclosure, so they're doing it.
Yeah, but yeah. It's funny that you say that, because I know those are coming on the market, but I also know that investors are ready. So investors
are ready, but a lot of these programs, remember when foreclosures come out, A lot of what was changed in the Dodd-Frank Act when that was passed like in 07, 08 was that they want you to offer them to owner occupants first. So a lot of times investors, if it's a government-backed loan foreclosure, investors don't even have a shot for 10 days.
Yeah, but like the one that you bought, you're not, it was probably not even on the market.
It was.
It wasn't.
It was on the market, but it was sight unseen. There was no tours. So I got to kick out the previous owner whenever we close on it. So what's that? I have my lawyer on it already. She already has the deed that they use to foreclose. And she's like, as soon as you close on it, we'll go for this eviction, writ of possession, get it back. Yeah, I know. It's not pleasant, but yeah,
But I mean, okay. So,
it's business.
Okay, so, how many, do you have an idea of the numbers of houses that are potentially coming on the market?
I think there's quite a few, man. I mean,
here's what I'm saying, here's why I say it, because on your average house that's under $350,000, there's probably gonna be 10 to 15 offers on every house.
could be.
Do you
But-
think there's enough to fulfill, to satisfy that?
Enough to meet demand, probably not. But they're saying up in some areas, and I don't know, there's no way to really find out what San Antonio's doing. They're saying up to 20% of people are going to be in default on their mortgage, like when the moratorium comes back. Yeah, it's just, it might be some areas, they said as much as 20%.
I think
But-
Texas is gonna get affected even more so because and this is just my opinion, but we have one of the higher property tax rates in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So you have recent, when the county starts catching up with the sales prices, and people are gonna be hit with not only their repayment of forbearance, but also an significant increase in property tax value. Or
And they haven't paid it for a year. So they have to catch that up. So everybody's payment's going to go up regardless. You're right. So yeah, as far as the interest, they're going to tack that onto the end, the lender, but the escrows have to be caught up. So that's going to hurt. You're right. Yeah, I think. Oh gosh. Yeah, they're not gonna back down on that. They're salivating. I assure you.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but you can put up a fight all you want, but they're gonna win those.
Oh yeah, they always do. It's the government. All right, so key indicators of success. So this is what we talk about when we track numbers. So percent of car rides who find and buy their perfect home. So you want to get your closing percentage, your closing ratio there. List price to sales price ratio is very important. What the house was listed at, what they ended up buying, it might be in the negative now. You might go over 100%. So that's not good. This is something you normally brag about and keep track of because, like for instance, I never kept track of my numbers on the buyer side, but I did on the listing side. So what I would always brag about is, yeah, my list price to sale price ratio is 98.6. So the average is about 97, somewhere in there. So I'm about 1.5 points higher than other listing agents on average. Now you'd want the opposite on the buying side, so you want to have a lower list price to sale price ratio. So if yours is like 80%, it's not going to be that low, but if it's 80, that's pretty good. So you've gotten properties for buyers for, 80 cents on the dollar. It's not going to happen now. Like I said, it'll probably be, I'm only paying 103 or 102, 102 or 103% of asking price instead of 120% or 110%. So it still works, but that's just not a number to be proud of right now. Buyer satisfaction ranking. So you want to make sure on those last two, you have good, solid reviews. So no, these validate an intentional, proactive, and focused approach with buyers. If you use this, whenever you meet with a buyer and you show them this, nobody else is going to have this. Nobody else is going to have all their reviews. Nobody else is going to know their list price to sales price ratio. Average number of homes viewed. That's important too. That shows how efficient you are. Right now, it's a lot, right? You're showing houses, you're writing offers, and you have to keep showing houses, but still, numbers you want to track. Okay, so the 5 stages of working with a buyer. So you have your pre-conversation activities. So what that entails, meeting in the office, move to the conference room, and build rapport. Message number 2, setting the tone. It has to be a win-win, right? You don't want to waste your time. They don't want to waste their time. Message number 2, defining their perfect home. So you want to uncover buyer needs and wants, prioritize their wants, verify their motivation. First test was meeting you in the office. And then check their financial ability. Very important. Message 3, roles and expectations, cover mutual expectations, gain agreement on roles, and you want to close the meeting, hopefully by signing a buyer's rep agreement. Post-conversation activities, homework and preparation, you're going to do searches for them, show homes that meet their search criteria, and close buyer to informed, intelligent offer. Hopefully not a lowball offer, not even I mean, pretty much if someone comes in and says, you know, house is 290, I want to offer 280, I mean, you're going to be like, it's not even worth writing up an offer, right? Okay, so meet in the office, very, very important, both for your time and your security and your safety. It's better to meet someone in an office where there's other people around for the first time, kind of get a feel for their body language and vet them a little bit. Then once they talk to a lender, you kind of know they're legit. Then to meet them at a vacant property, right? Unless you're carrying, make sure you are, if you're going to do that, especially for the ladies, seriously. Okay, so I know you can't see that. It says, don't be a Pavlovian realtor. Everybody remember the story of Pavlov and his dog, 8th grade science class? He would ring the bell and the dog would salivate and then he'd feed him, kind of like that. So phone rings, the potential buyer, let's go look. No, instead be professionally skeptical. Phone rings, the potential buyer, let's get into my process. You remember that old saying, if you don't make someone a part of your process, you end up becoming a part of their process. You want to stay in control. It's your time, it's your money. So as for the meeting, don't be afraid. A lot of people are going to go, huh, what? Yeah, ask for it. You will not convert 100% of the leads you do not generate. Are you currently in the market for a new home? Yes. How are you going about finding your perfect home? So if their answer implies they're not being intentional, say, how would you like to use a proactive process that will ensure you get the home you want and more importantly, want the home you get? Nowadays, you don't have much time to make a decision. So we want to make sure we're focused and we're on the same page when we go out and see that property because you're going to have about 30 minutes to decide if you really want to make a legitimate offer and be considered. What would that entail? We begin with us getting, and I would save this in a text message because I've texted this out several times. It will begin by us getting together for about an hour so I can uncover exactly what you need in your next home, define your financial comfort zone, and thoroughly discuss the roles and expectations we have of one another in a successful working relationship. Does that sound like an approach that could benefit you? Of course. Again, you're always asking questions geared to, your angle was to get yeses or to get no's. If you get no's out of people, you know to walk away. If you get yeses, you're in good shape. It's working. And these work, trust me. As simple and crazy as it sounds, they work exceptionally well, exceptionally well. People will trust and follow what you can logically and tangibly explain. So to justify the meeting, time is limited. You must choose to invest in vital activities only. Consistently emailing information to behaviorally unwilling buyers is a high-risk venture and a hot stove issue. Remember, serious buyers behave like serious buyers. So what ends up happening is when you don't have that face-to-face, one-on-one relationship, you end up getting people that just have a bunch of agents working for them, sending them stuff out. These people are to be the ones that are going to call you on short notice to go look at something on a Friday afternoon, on a Sunday morning, and it's really just not the kind of people you want to get into a relationship with. You're a professional. Hold them to the same standard. All right, so we're going to get into some dialogue here, so I'm going to need some help reading. So a lot of times you'll get this, can't you just email me the information? So here's a good comeback. Someone can read that consultant part.
Do you not see a benefit in us getting together?
Other agents don't have me do this.
Exactly. Understand that I'm a real estate consultant and am extremely serious about what I do. I don't do this part-time. I run a business. And I'm not just in the business of showing houses, I'm in the business of satisfying needs. I have a process that I use with all my clients. Therefore, what we need to do before I start emailing you information is to define your perfect home. Make sure the homes we consider fall well within your financial comfort zone and thoroughly discuss our roles and expectations in a successful working relationship. I believe the best approach when investing in large sum of money is to operate as an intentional and proactive team. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. So you always want to get a yes. If you get a no, move on.
But you know, those are, yeah, it's like, you know those telemarketers, they use good stuff like this. You know, when they're trying to say stuff.
And
It's almost like, it's leading, right? Like, it's like, if I answer no, no.
Yeah, you want to save money, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't, do you like throwing your money away?
No, I don't really want to save money or pay for it.
Yeah. Or, hey, can you take on more business? Like, can you handle another listing appointment
It's
or
always been
whatever?
hard for me because automatically,
Damn. Yeah, not from you.
My mind shuts down, right? Like, I've never really been one to purchase a lot of things. I've never purchased anything. And then what happens is I'll talk to other friends and they start doing some program like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I find out somebody would try to solicit me like a year or two before that, you know, and I'm late on it all the time.
I am too. I'm the same way. I have high sales resistance. Like if I'm going to buy something, it's going to be my idea, not because somebody called me or on my door. Like if I want pest control, I'll call you, man. Go away. You know, I'm good. If I want lawn care, I'll call somebody, you know, like, so yeah, I hear you, but that's good. That's good. You can see it from both sides. So typical agents move straight to the car with all people who claim to be buyers. This is a risky approach since history has taught us that talk is cheap. Simply wanting to buy a home does not make one a legitimate home buyer. Instead, especially now, right? They have to have cash and credit. It's not the way it used to be. It's not as simple as it used to be. So we need to vet them a little bit more. Instead of hopping straight into the car, develop a habit of moving straight to the conference room with potential buyers for a focused meeting. This is a terrific opportunity for you to separate from the herd and build healthy win-win working relationships. All right, so this, they say, I mean, you already have this here. This is the beautiful thing about having an office like this is there's always people around. It's in a good location, beautiful building. You have a very professional reception. I mean, you don't have to like tell Roxanne to do this stuff. She's going to do it automatically, right? So we don't have to get into this, but if you wanted to customize a little bit, hey, when my clients come in, can you tell them this or tell them that? Maybe she will. If you buy her lunch or something, be extra nice to her. I know she would do it either way, but I might get some people in trouble, but anyway, lunch is pretty safe, right?
We prefer the dancing.
Y'all go out dancing. Yeah, if I were to take somebody out dancing, besides my wife, I'd get my ass kicked. Not good for everybody. So of course, you know, you just want to be focused. The point of this is you want to be focused and you want to be prepared. So when you do walk into that first meeting, you know, it might be the first time you meet them, chances are most times, right? Make sure you're in the correct mindset. Clear your head of any and all outside distractions. This is super important, especially with these things now. These things tend to grab our attention. We don't even notice it. Like we're just sitting there talking to somebody and you're like, you know, put that thing on silent. Don't let it vibrate, anything. Just give them that 30 minutes of focus or however long. Focus on the conversation at hand. Very, very important. Imagine the desired end result. What's a desired end result of a first meeting, you think? Before we get to it, we're going to go through it, but I'm just gauging.
The desired end result of meeting them for the first time.
Yeah, how do you want that meeting to end? Bingo, signing a bra, right? And for me, getting a written criteria sheet of what they're looking for. That way they can't go back and say, well, we never told you that you didn't show us anything that we wanted. I showed you exactly what you wanted. You didn't know what you wanted. Yeah, you got to get it in writing. And then my roles, your roles is if you never use that, it's super impactful. I mean, super duper impactful. I mean, again, it's one of those things, conflict arises when expectations differ. When you're on the same page, you don't usually have any conflicts. And nowadays people are so distracted that it's hard, even if they're sitting there looking you in the eye, paying attention, a lot of times they're like, their mind is somewhere else. You got to tell them like 3 times. It's crazy. Seeing, yeah, there you go. Yeah, but he tunes you out. But they tune some people tune everybody out. So building rapport, breaking the ice. So hi, I'm Zac Taylor. It's a pleasure meeting you. Great to see you again if you've met him before. Comment on the weather or a popular current event, not politics, not religion. Don't talk about any of that stuff. So before we get started, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? So here's 4 topics that are usually pretty safe to talk about: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Okay, so family, are you originally from this area? How long have you lived here? What brought you to San Antonio? Do you have kids? Why are you moving? I mean, don't get too nosy, but you get the idea, right? Occupation. What do you do for a living? How did you get into that line of work? How long have you been in that field? Do you enjoy it? Recreation. What do you do for fun? Hobbies. How long have you been interested in that? Dreams. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live and why? Pretty straightforward.
So, you know, it's funny that you put that up there again, because for years I struggled with this part here, because like I grew up in this area, right? So people tell me that, and I'll start talking about the commonalities that we have, right? We get off subject, and it's taken me a long time to really focus on not saying anything about what the relation is, right? So because I gotta keep it about them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's hard for me.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard for me to do, because I'm quick to.
Well, we're talkers, and what we do is we fill space, we fill time with talk, with bullshit, just small talk, right? So it's hard if they're not talkers. Like some people, you just ask them, how do you, like you can ask them one question about their job. Do you enjoy your work? And that could be a whole day's conversation. They're just going to tell you more. They'll tell you their whole life history. That's good in a way, but yeah, you're right. You got to keep it about them. So remember, guys, sports are usually safe. If you like sports, no sports. Women, children. They like to talk about their children. They have kids, right? That's usually what I've found.
And you know, and the other thing is that they like to talk about, like, I always throw in their pets.
Pets too? Yeah, yep.
Because people.
That's a big thing now. Good point.
Line up and they like you know, their kids. They're
Yeah,
line up and they
yeah.
talk about their pets, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's 8. He's in 3rd grade. Oh, my dog, but oh, she's so smart. And, yeah, it's true, man. It's funny. It's crazy, but it's true. Yeah, sad, but true in a way. All right, so setting the tone. So I'm going to need some help reading here. So the first thing is we want to make sure it's a win-win. And this is important to tell them because, you know, it'll kind of lower their anxiety of thinking you're a used car salesman and all realtors are alike. If you read this part. Can someone read this, please?
I'll do it. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, let me say I really appreciate you meeting with me, and I want you to understand that my goal today is to establish the foundation for a win-win working relationship. A lot of real estate agents are willing to sacrifice a win-win relationship in order to simply sell a house. And I want you to know right up front that I don't operate that way. With me, it's a win-win or no deal.
Thank you. So the agenda, you always want to tell people what you're going to tell them and then tell them. And then tell them what you told them after. But you always introduce the agenda. Tell them what to expect out of this meeting and what the goal is, right? Can someone read that?
Since this is going to be a large financial investment for you, we want to make sure you get the home you want, and more importantly, want the home you get. Therefore, what we're going to do before we get in the car is to find your perfect home, make certain of your financial parameters, and then thoroughly discuss the goals and expectations necessary for a successful working relationship. Is this agreeable to you?
Good, thank you. Always offer confidentiality. It's not so much on the buyer side, on the listing side, I'll always do this. Some people don't want people to know their business. They don't want them to know how much they owe on their house. Some people they want to talk to the sellers before you even put the sign out. So when I pull up to a listing appointment, never go with any magnets or anything like that. You know, just kind of go in there incognito. And can someone read those last two, please?
I'll read it. Now I want you to rest assured that anything said here today will remain totally confidential. So please feel free to be as open and honest with me as you feel you can be. Are you ready?
Awesome.
And then transitional is great. What I would like to have each of you do.
Okay, so there we go. So that's kind of breaking the ice, setting the expectations. You go through it, you stay in control. Remember, as long as you're talking, you're in control. So you want to build criteria with a criteria sheet. Everybody know what a criteria sheet is? Some people call it a dream sheet. It's basically just wants and needs. You want to separate them into wants and needs. We'll get into that and give you a good example. But if you don't have a home criteria sheet, get one. Build one yourself if you don't like the ones that are out there. Pretty simple. Can someone read this, please?
What do we read?
What I would like.
What I would like each of you to do is complete this criteria sheet so we can build the vision of the perfect home. I'm going to step out for a moment and allow you to complete it. Just open the door when you're finished. May I refresh your drinks? No cheating.
Refresh your drinks up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you want to rejoin when the door is open and say, how did it go? Do you see value in using a sheet like this? Great. It's extremely important that we get focused because reacting to the marketplace is not an option right now. Without pre-established criteria is like going grocery shopping without a grocery list when you're hungry. You ever experienced that? Everybody has, right? You come home with all kind of weird stuff that you would never usually eat. So transitional phrase, what I'd like to do is prioritize your wants. Okay, so here's an example. You can put your information at the top. You can leave it for them to fill in their own information, however you want to do it. On letterhead, not on letterhead, doesn't matter. Help me help you. Please identify the following features, amenities as they apply to your needs and wants. A need in is a mandatory item. A want is something you would like but not necessary. Undesirable is something you definitely do not want. So like some people don't use the undesirable, but for example, like a pool is something, that's something I was shocked to find out one time. You know, I always think that people want a pool and they want a large yard. There's some people that don't. They don't want to maintain a yard, you know, and they certainly don't want a pool. So, all right. And then some people will kill for a pool. So townhome, condo, is that an option? Patio home, that sort of stuff. Freestanding, 1 story, 2 story, that's a big deal. Number of bedrooms, so on and so forth. Okay, so you want to prioritize the wants. Since all of your needs are priority 1, what I'd like to do now is prioritize your wants. See if there's anything you can get rid of. It'll make your scope wider. So looking at your wants, what's the one thing that would make all others seem not as important? In other words, what's your most important want? What's the second most important on the list? What's third? So on and so forth. Continue until all wants have been prioritized. Because a lot of times that's an arguing point for the couple. Let them argue about it. Don't get in the middle of that. And then that's why they tell you to leave the room. You don't want to witness, you know, I don't want a damn pool. I don't need a freaking 3-car garage, honey, you know, or whatever. So some helpful hints. Stay curious about the needs and wants that could be satisfied via other options. For example, a need is a 3-bedroom with a study. Optional might be a 4th bedroom. Engage both husband and wife or partners when prioritizing wants. So Mary, what's the most important want? Joe, would you agree? Anyway, when we find the home that meets all your needs, we'll move forward. So once you, I'm sorry?
Did you see that thing recently that was like, if your spouse and you disagree at a home, divorce your spouse, it's easier to find a new spouse.
That's funny, man. I never thought about that. It's true. It's easier to find a new spouse than it is to get into a home that you both want. Could be, right? Okay, so once you have focus buyers, once you've gotten through that point, you must retest their motivation by asking the following question. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, when we find the home that meets all of your needs and a majority of your wants, will there be anything keeping you from making an offer? If no, great. Are you going to be paying cash or will you be getting a loan? Right now, it's a legit question. I mean, there's a lot of people paying cash. I don't know where they're getting it, but they are. They're selling in California. That's where. Yeah, that's not my place. I'm not Homeland Security, man. I don't care where you got it. Exactly. No one to ask and no one to shut up. Okay, if you get, we're just looking right now, or we don't think we're ready to buy, when do you think you'll be ready? What's important about waiting that time? Listen and respond appropriately. This is going to help you prioritize how much time you're going to spend with them. If they're looking in 6 months, you're not going to go out and show them anything today, right? Because that home's going to be sold in 6 hours or 6 days, not 6 months. So it's going to be a totally different market by the time they're ready. Can someone read this with me, the consultant part?
I really appreciate that, but homes do sell on a daily basis, so that we don't waste your time or have you fall in love with a home that may not be around when you're ready. I highly recommend that we wait until you are fully committed to buying a home. Is that fair?
Yes, I see your point.
Great. Would you mind if I stayed in touch with you through the mail as well as phone call now and then? That way, when you get ready to buy, we can find you a home that meets these specific needs.
Awesome. So you put them on your mailing list. We're going to talk a lot more about this, the cap, and how the cap, creating a cap, and we have, I think it's our last class or the one before last, encompasses all this stuff so you can market to all these people and keep up with them the same way. It's a good process. And this is what we consider a pipeline lead. You know, they're not ready, but they're going to be. And if you keep in touch with them and you treat them well, they're going to be your client in the future. Okay, so if they don't want to wait, so if you get an impatient buyer that, I mean, it's not going to be real common nowadays, that want to go out and look, but they're not ready, and they say they're just looking, we'll go to an open house or a freaking builder model. And why are you wasting my time? What's that got to do with me? Well, you're our realtor. Can someone read this, please?
Under buyer or?
No, just from the top. We are just looking. If you get that as a response.
I really appreciate that, but homes do sell on a daily basis so that we don't waste your time or have you fall in love with a home that may not be around when you're ready. I highly recommend that we wait until you are fully committed to buying a home. Is that fair?
No, that's not fair. We want to go look.
Well, do you remember at the beginning of our conversation when I told you that I was here to create a win-win working relationship? I think we may have just violated that agenda. I mean, you have a common goal, and that is getting you into your perfect home. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Great, I'm going to commit 100% of my efforts toward finding your perfect home, and all I ask is when we find that home, you be prepared to buy it. Otherwise, the overall goal of getting you into your perfect home has not been accomplished. Does that make sense?
It should.
Yeah.
No.
Then shouldn't we make this a win-win relationship from the start?
Yeah, so if you get a no there, then you're dealing with tire kickers. I can tell you, I've seen them, been around them, I know what they look like, talk like, act like, tire kickers.
I was watching this thing, well, this quick on Instagram. It was Dave Ramsey talking, like somebody called into his show saying, hey, I want to sell my house, like, but I don't want to pay premium. Like, it's probably going to eventually go down to his prices. I don't think they're going to.
Oh yeah, I put that on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. It says if you're going to buy now, if you're going to sell now, buy now.
Yeah, we're not in a bubble.
So
This is, these prices are here to stay.
Oh, we want to sell, but we're not going to be ready to buy, so hold on. That's another thing to like a reference to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Financial guru.
Yeah, text them that link to that video. Because like, yeah, I mean, Dave Ramsey's about as legit of a consultant as you're going to get out there. I mean, there's not a lot of people that have their finger on the pulse of everything that's going on in the financial markets, real estate markets. You know, I'm not saying it's gospel, but it's pretty close. You know, it's about the closest we're going to get overall. And then of course, every market's different. So for what's going on in Texas, it might not reflect to what they're showing, but these guys counsel people on a daily basis around the country, around the world. So. Really? Oh yeah, I believe that because everybody's leaving freaking New York City.
My niece's best friend, 10 years ago, bought this little 1,000-square-foot house for like $132,000. And now she needs a bigger place. She's married, has 2 kids. And so, say she sold it for, she listed it for $280 and sold it for $291.
Dude, anything.
Yeah, I think because you think about just what you said, New York is probably the source of all of this change.
Yep. Yeah, anything that's within a 2-hour commute, they're moving. It's gonna be rough. Yeah. They're completely. I mean, if you've ever been to New York, I mean, it's already too crowded. You know, and then you throw something like COVID in there, forget it, man. It's like
COVID really changed that whole mindset.
Imagine like Tokyo to Hong Kong. These places are like, I mean, people live on top of each other, literally.
I mean, aside from the not being able to be close to each other, the way they operated the state during those times really had a big impact on their business and their way of living, right? Like they realized they couldn't sustain, they can't afford not to be working for 2 weeks.
Exactly. Bingo.
Probably somebody from New York that, bought that little house.
Yeah.
Because I've taken the train from Connecticut into Grand Central Station. And people were getting on with their briefcases and dressed for work to go into the city, but they sure as heck didn't live there.
No, Connecticut, the whole state of Connecticut is pretty much a bedroom community for New Yorkers. I mean, that's what it's become.
I have a client who works for the East Central Independent School District, right? You know where East Central is?
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty rural.
Yeah.
And it's like east.
Yeah, Lavernia and almost going towards Lavernia.
So she said that this year, the East Central Independent School District had more out-of-state transfers during the year, during this 2021 year than they've ever had before,
I
right?
believe it.
And 25, a little over 25% came from the state of New York.
Damn. Really? I didn't realize that.
So that's a lot.
That is a
Going
lot.
there, because you think New York, big city, that's what we think. And of course, New York's a big state. There's
Yeah,
other
but that's
parts.
like New York.
But that's pretty rural. If you go east central, that's pretty rural.
Most of New York State's kind of like that, though. Believe it or not, I mean, that is a wide open state with a lot of country and farms and shit like that. Like you wouldn't expect. Like you think of New York, you think of city, but no, New York's a big open state, right? It's huge too. Yeah, a lot of it's rural, and people have been leaving there forever. It's been a bad business environment, just statewide, and like all those old places that I think. Yeah, like Corningware and all. I don't even know if those. I think all those places left. Like, I mean, they're like Corning, New York. That their whole industry was Corningware at one time, and I think it's all moved out. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know enough about like cryptocurrency, but New York was Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
I mean, New York City was Wall Street. Like, what happens to that?
It's got to keep going. You got to keep operating the stock market. And they have. I don't know how they do. I don't know how they do their trading and all anymore if you're not on the floor. But you're right. I mean, you shut that down.
Connecticut is as surprising as always. People always connected to New York,
Mhm.
but it's more like there are people moving into Pennsylvania and commuting to New York. There are people moving into Delaware, or then a little bit further even, Connecticut's always, because the transportation system makes it very easy to go.
Yes.
Yeah, North Jersey and all too has always been like that. North Jersey's
It's
pretty.
like a little bit further out now that they're going. Like Pennsylvania's a huge state where people commuting 3 hours because it's easier than.
And they probably don't commute every day.
Exactly. No, they don't.
Yeah. It's a lot of it's going on online. So all right.
Right now, for sure.
The check financial, yeah, absolutely. So once you're convinced you have motivated buyers, the next step is to test their ability to pay. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, are you going to be paying cash or getting a loan? A loan is, most of it. Do you have a loan? Have you already done this? Have you spoken to someone? Do you know a lender who you'd be comfortable with? It's also important to have someone that you're on a first name basis with, or at least a couple of lenders in your pocket. People are going to pick up the ball and run with it. Kind of like when quarterback has to make sure he has a good running back. He's not going to drop the ball when he hands it off to him. You want your lender, your title company, your inspector even to be like this on your team, right? Same page. You don't want to miss anything. I'll be honest with you. In this situation, I hate it when realtors just hand a card to their clients and say, here's my lender, give them a call. No. You call that lender, you have them call your client. So you got a passive way of doing it and you have a proactive way of doing it. The proactive way is to get the professional to call the customer, not get the customer to call the professional, right? Then you know who you're dealing with. Because then a lot of times what they say is, well, I called him, but he never called me back or he didn't answer. And I'm like, come on, I know this guy, he would be on it. There's no way you called this dude and texted him and he didn't get back to you. Bullshit, right? So at least they can't get away with it that way. All right, so if they have one, great. Hey, don't step in the way of that. Just make sure they're legit. Check in with them. If they don't, have somebody to refer them to. When do you think you could visit or call? I'll set it up. You want them to call you at 2 o'clock today? I'll have them call you at 2 o'clock today. All right, so a few more questions if working with first-time home buyers. Do you have cash available to use for earnest money? Remember, a lot of people don't know, especially VA buyers. VA buyers, for some reason, come in here, if they've never bought a home, they're under the impression that it's a zero cost purchase, zero money out of pocket, which it can be, not in today's market, but normally, you go make that offer, you put in low earnest money, like they're buying a $400,000 home, I'll put $1,500 on there, have them pay all the closing costs. I mean, in the past, it's what we used to do, and we used to get it done that way. Nowadays, it's going to be the opposite. They're going to still have to have some cash, even if they're going T-Shack, if they're going USDA or VA. Besides their down payment money, they still need to have some cash because no seller is going to pay closing costs right now, not on a competitive home at all. So they're going to have to pay their own. So do you have a reserve fund for closing costs and prepaid items? No, do not pre-qualify the buyers first, as this may make them feel cheap and eliminate any referral opportunities. So again, this is something I'll always say, and I still practice this. Don't step out of your lane. Don't go out of your lane. You're not a lender. Don't pretend to be. Don't give them interest rates. Don't calculate payments. Let the lender do all that crap. That's what they're there for. They're experts at this. Any more than you'd want the lender giving your clients advice on offers and contracts and stuff like that or homes, right? Stay in your lane, but just make sure you have a good person that can pick up right where you left off. So think of, if anybody has ever run track, think of it as a relay race. You got 4 people on the team. Everybody has to execute the pass down to the baton perfectly or you all lose. Everybody loses. So that's how you want to see it. All right, so now that you have a motivated buyer who is willing to get qualified, so we want to set the boundaries for a working relationship. So transition into, okay, so let's switch gears for a moment. It's been my experience that conflict arises when expectations differ, right? Even if they weren't first-time home buyers, maybe they bought and sold a house in Pennsylvania. They come down here, maybe realtors do things differently up there. I don't know. Maybe they do more, maybe they do less, but this is your chance to and eliminate all this other doubt or expectations, right? Wouldn't you agree? Of course, you're going to get a yes. Great. With that in mind, let me share with you what I feel you have a right to expect from me as your real estate consultant. They always say, don't ask for anything until you give somebody something, right? So you want to tell them what they have a right to expect from you. They're going to be like, oh, wow, this guy's going to, or this gal's going to give us all the info. So hand the buyer my role list and review together. So you're going to have a my role and your role checklist. Once you have completely reviewed the my role list, say, now, since this is going to be a partnership, let me share with you what I feel I have a right to expect from you as my partner. So you're going to tell them what they have a right to expect from you, and then you're going to tell them what you expect from them. So hand the buyer your role list and review together. So here's an example of my role. What you can expect from me as your buyer's consultant. Only advice I can really give you on this is don't list anything that you don't intend to do because they will hold you accountable. That's why it's in writing. So hold on to this and make sure that, like I said, when it comes to like sellers, I know we're going to go over that next class, but if you don't do open houses, don't put that on there because they're going to expect it or whatever you put in here. And if you can't explain it, take it off. Like, what's number 7 mean? I don't know. I just put that on there because it sounds good. This is something I always like to throw in number 14. Provide you with a post-closing information and consulting services and assist you with all future real estate needs. Wow. So I'm willing to work for free way after this is over. Whatever you need. You need a referral for a roofer. You want to know where to call to get your electricity hooked up. I'm your guy. Just come back to me. All right, your role. So flipping the script on them. Hey, Mr. Buyer, this is what I expect from you. Be on time for all meetings. I don't have time to play around. No, I'm kidding. Keep all appointments or call to cancel in a timely manner. Meet with a loan consultant in a timely manner after initial meeting. Number 4, this is a good one that everybody needs to know, and the loan officer will thank you for that. Do not make any large purchases or incur debt without first talking to the loan officer. Oh my goodness. I've had $1 for every time that happened. Respond to calls from everyone in the industry, mortgage, title, inspection, me. Loyalty. Respect the seller's property. Inform me immediately if things change. There should be something on here. I know it's kind of covered the buyer's rep, but I would throw in, if you're going to be out going to open houses or builder communities, just carry my card with you and make sure you tell them you're working with the realtor. Very important. So only A buyers get invited to your car. So you must confirm you are dealing with someone who is loyal and has a negative COVID test. No, I'm kidding. That's what some people require, I think, before they let you into their car. I don't know. I'm guessing.
What's funny? I haven't put very many people in my car.
People don't do it as much anymore. It's a thing of the past. Nah.
It used to be a big,
Well, before GPS, I mean, they would get lost. I mean, you had to map this stuff out, so you had to be in charge of knowing where you're going.
Yeah, you're right.
Now anybody and everybody can find any address. So it's gotten a little bit easier, gotten a little bit different. So yeah,
That's true.
but I do like having people in my car because I can talk to them, I can wear them down, close them to an offer.
That's what, when I was first taught, and, working with buyers, is that you want them in your car, that was your time to
Yeah.
talk about things like.
Especially-
Brokerage services, whatever it is.
Especially if they're from out of state and they've never been here before, they're not familiar, you can point things out. Hey, this area is nice because look, the schools are right here, the shopping's right there, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's kind of what I do, but everybody's different. But yeah, it's kind of died down. It's not what it used to be. But then again, a lot of people don't meet in the office either. So if you meet in the office, it's pretty natural to get into the same car. But if you're meeting them at the property, then it's not. You don't like leave a car there and jump into one car. But yeah, it's just I cannot like drive with somebody following me either. I'm like, I hate that. I'm like, then you gotta, and they always follow 40 car lengths behind, and you're like, shit, man, yellow light. What do I do? Slam on the brakes. It's always awkward, man. Then you're looking behind you the whole time to make sure they're still there. Nah, yeah, it's too much stress. So put it in the GPS, put them in the back seat and drive and talk. So loyalty dialogue. So what I would like to commit to finding your perfect home, and I must ask one thing in return from you, that you commit to working exclusively with me. Now, by exclusively, I mean if you attend any open houses or talk with any new home builders without me, that you will let them know immediately that you're happily represented by me. If you drive by a home, see a home in a home magazine, they don't even make it that far now. Imagine like seeing something that's actually still active in print. Never going to happen, right? See something online, which they will find on Zillow, and they're going to text that crap to you nonstop, that you think meets your criteria, you will call me. Also, that you will not solicit the service of any other realtor while searching for your perfect home. Is that fair? I can guarantee you the best service in the industry if you can guarantee me your loyalty. What do you say? You're going to get a yes. So now that we have covered each person's role, you can end mutual expectations by saying, so Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, do you think we have clearly defined our roles and expectations? You're going to get a yes. Do you think they're fair? You're going to get a yes. Is there anything else that should be included on the list? Probably going to get a no. Do you see value in what I do? Yes, great. Then you won't ask for part of my commission back. Well, after this conversation, you see, and a lot of people, honestly, a lot of realtors will give away half of their commission, and they should, because they don't do shit to earn it. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's true. They haven't really earned it. They haven't really done much except open a door. I mean, so, and then they get offended. What do you mean you're asking for part of my commission? You really didn't do much. I mean, be a consultant, do something to earn that and lock them in. More importantly, before you spend any more than this 30 minutes, have a buyer's rep signed. That way once you have a buyer's rep signed, they can't ask for anything. It's already in writing. So you're good. Motivated, qualified, and loyal people buy homes. I guess other people buy homes too, but not with a realtor. Not with me anyway. All right, if the buyer has been allowed to self-discover what a working relationship with you would be like, and you've established yourself as a worthwhile professional, closing is a Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, after our conversation, I feel we have the makings of a win-win working relationship. Wouldn't you agree? Of course. What I'd like to do now is break for a couple of days or a couple of hours or whatever the case may be, so I can do my homework and you can do yours. What I will do is insert your criteria into our MLS to see what we can find. This is a good time to also discourage them from looking on their own, because what they're going to do is they're going to find a bunch of crap on Zillow that's either sold already or it doesn't meet their criteria. Because guess what? If it meets their criteria, it's going to show up in the search, right? There's nothing on Zillow that, maybe a few FSBOs here and there, that don't show up in MLS. Would you like me to search the FSBO inventory as well? I would leave that out. Don't open that can of worms. I wouldn't even talk about FSBOs. They're so irrelevant in our market. It's not even worth bringing up. What's a FSBO and how does that work? Yeah, just never mind. If you get a yes, never mind. Jump ahead. So your homework, I'm going to do my homework. Your homework is to get with the lender or obtain verification of funds. Not a picture of a stack of cash, but an actual legitimate bank statement, right? From the past 30 days. Some people think that's proof of funds. Stack of money. Ha ha ha. Very funny. Does that sound good? Great. When would be a good time for us to get back together to review what I have found and to view homes? Meeting 2 must be after client's meeting with the lender, or at least consulting or phone call, right? Please take this sales contract with you to review because it's what we will use to submit the offer. I don't know if, kind of like with the FSBO, I don't know if I'd go this far. I've had one person ask me for this. It was a tax attorney from California. He wanted to read the sales contract from cover to cover. I'm like, great. So we're going to make an offer the next day. I gave him a blank sales contract. He read it. We filled it out. We signed it. We made the offer. We got it. It was years ago when you actually had like a day to think about it. You can go see homes today and make an offer tomorrow. I was like, that's so 2014. It was a pleasure meeting with you, and I look forward to working with you in the journey to finding your perfect home. Yay, man. Get you right there, huh? You got to be a little warm. I mean, okay, so between meetings, you must complete the following homework. Number 1, send clients a thank you letter for first meeting. There's an example. It's also, you throw in some what to expect things. So at least an email. Doesn't have to be a written, I mean, nowadays, who has time for that, right? Email. Create a buyer file. Call loan officer to verify price parameters. Call buyer to verify price ceiling. Don't assume they want to spend it all. So nowadays, when you set up the search, it used to be, hey, I'm qualified up to 275. So you'd set the search capping at 300, right? Because we can get the seller to come down. Now it's the opposite. We're qualified up to 300. Let's cap the search at 275. So they have room to go up.
That's crazy that you say that.
It's funny though, right? It's the opposite.
It is funny, because I think about that.
Yeah, don't look at stuff. I'm serious. Like I have a client right now, she's capped at 180. And I'm like, there's no point in looking at stuff that's 180. Let's look at stuff that's 160 so we can offer 175. Seriously. I was dead honest with her. And she agreed after getting shot down 4 or 5 times. Insert criterion one at a time, especially now with low inventory, into MLS to uncover all homes that need specific needs and wants. So when you put in all the needs, you might have 45, right, that fit their criteria, not 20. Then you start putting in their wants, it narrows it down to 1 or 0. So you gotta, and you're gonna have to explain this at meeting 2, but why they didn't get their wants. Bless you. But that's why it's important to prioritize the wants and specify or differentiate between what's a want and what's a need. Okay, note, enter criterion one at a time so you can determine the one or ones that have limiting effects, like a pool. You know, you get 20 and then you put in pool and goes to 0, right? If results reveal 2 homes or less, call the client to inquire if needs and wants should be redefined and are reprioritized. I wouldn't call them right then and there. I would cover this at meeting number 2. When making this call, always have further information regarding alternative options available. Example, the 3-car garage is the one criterion limiting our search. If you're open to considering homes with a 2-car garage, there are 6 more options available. What would you like to do? Number 1, call listing agent to verify availability. This is important now. I used to never do this and I do it now. I started doing it. You know, you don't have to request disclosures. I mean, that's usually uploaded if they have it. Number 2, prepare showing packages. So basically printing out the sheet, the agent custom report. And they're going to also throw in like a CMA, which I think is kind of important right now too, to do a quick buyer CMA, just to see when they want to make that offer. Well, they're asking 275, it's worth 270. So how much do you really want to offer on this? This is what it will probably appraise for. Rich sent a message out yesterday to make them sign it, showing that they're paying over market. But you also want to have an idea of what it's going to appraise for. It's going to appraise according to the comps, not much more. So just prepare them.
I think it's because when we did our broker, ask the broker this month, and one of the things he said was that he was hearing that there was going to be a lot of E&O issues later.
Down the line, 3 to 5 years from now.
Prices and people getting in $20,000, $30,000. So I think he's just trying to get us to cover our butts on both ends of it.
Yeah, I bought my house in 2007.
Issues later.
Yeah, exactly. I bought in 2007. I feel like I overpaid. And if I could have sued myself, I would have. But I was a realtor, so. Couldn't do. I'm kidding. But it's true. No, you like when you wait like 8 years for your house to like go up in value, it's kind of frustrating.
You know, yeah.
And trust me, these people are going to call you out on it.
Yeah.
If they can get, because they all think that Remax has deep pockets. They don't really know we're all struggling, working class people, but they think we're sitting on millions and we're an easy payday. And they can sue us or threaten to sue us, and we're going to pay out. So yeah, absolutely. And the E&O will cover it if you've covered your tracks. So that's what's important. That's why they want you to do that. It's very important. Okay, so to prepare relevant showing packages, you must print the full MLS agent reports. You guys know what that is, the one with the picture. Use different color highlighters to indicate which criteria have been met and which have not. So you can carry around a green and a pink highlighter.
Well, that's a good idea.
I do that a lot. I always do that. Prepare pricing information needed for an informed, intelligent offer. So that means a CMA, a buyer CMA. Print the tax info. Most of it's on the agent report, right? Schedule showings 24 hours in advance if possible, especially right now. They're hard to get into. You guys notice that? Like a lot of them aren't they aren't allowing overlapping showings because of COVID. So you don't want to wait till the last minute because you might not get in.
But now I'm finding the special remarks that they are actually putting that they will allow.
Oh, okay.
Some of the ones I've looked at.
So schedule it for tomorrow and just show up whenever the hell you want. Just follow somebody in.
Show up.
I already got the combo, so I'm good. My appointment's tomorrow though. Some dirty little realtor tricks, man. Like gate codes, call and schedule. Like you need a gate code to get in and look at a property. Like, oh shit, it's in a gated community. So you schedule one, you get the gate code, then you cancel it. You haven't done that?
I am.
Well, I do it all the time.
But then I have
I did it twice. I had to go into a gated community where I'm buying that foreclosure. And I was like, shit, what was that gate code, man? So I had to call the schedule. And luckily there was an active one in that neighborhood. Cancel it. Buyers no longer interested in property.
There's no change.
Well, some of them, like Southern one, you schedule the showing, but then the gate guard wants to see your real estate license.
Yeah, if you go on to Terramont,
Dominion.
oh God, Dominion, what's the one off of Stone Oak?
This summer clip is back in the back.
No, no, the Big Country Club one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's on Terra. Oh my goodness, yeah, you have to have an appointment, like
Yeah, I have.
Dominion especially.
I just have a copy of it in my glove box.
I carried a little one around, but it's probably expired.
Stop giving us the little ones with.
Yeah, I don't have to. I've never.
Yeah, they don't print it out together.
I mean, they used to, so they used to send to Mary Beth when you guys would renew your license, a copy of the bigger one and the little one, and they stopped sending the little one because we used to, like, for a little bit, we printed them out and laminated them, and now they don't send it, we have to like shrink it if we want it, so it's an extra step, so we don't know how to do it. But if you do want one, let us know more.
Just fold it up and carry it in your glove compartment.
Yeah, my new renewal just started May 1st. So now I'll start taking CE classes again. That's why I've been not paying for them because I've been waiting too many
Lord.
CE hours. And I was like, I'm not paying for anything after May 1st.
Yeah. Okay, so meeting number 2. So again, this will take place in the office before the showings. So you met with them already, you found houses, you got them pre-approved, or secured proof of funds, and now you're ready to show. So step 1, review the needs and wants to regain focus. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, this is where you can kind of go through and say, okay, you wanted a home with a pool. There were 0 available. So I found 4 without a pool that have a big enough yard to add a pool. Let's go look at these. Reveal the showing packages for each home on the tour. There should be no more than 10 homes on the tour. This is a good way to wear people out. Like you show them like 10 houses, and at the end of the day, they're like, where do I sign? It's easy. But then they start forgetting things. Also discuss the wants each home has and or does not have. Ask client if they've had a chance to review a sale, if you gave them a sales contract. You can skip this one. Make a copy of client's driver's license and inform someone in the office of your agenda. Maybe take a picture of it with your phone. Put it on the office. No, I'm just kidding. That office Facebook page. I'm taking this guy out. He looked kind of shady. So I should be back to the office by 4. No, but I think if like somebody like Roxanne, for example, who knows everybody here, you can kind of tell her, hey, I'm taking these people out. I should be back around 4.
I don't know.
If I go missing,
Said this wrong, but we used to have, okay, I always forget it. We used to have a code word, but I never understood how that would even work. But anyway, where you could say, hey, I'm at this, you can call and say, I'm at this address. Will you bring me my red folder? And then, send someone to that address. But I think that's a little harder when now you have an app. There's plenty of apps out there that you can do similar things. Or if you're here, just say my office, if you're not comfortable with someone, just say my office requires me to take a copy of your driver's license. If you feel weird asking, and we'll take it.
yeah. Yeah, my boss makes me do it. Who's your boss? Yeah, that's right. All right, so then you go to the car after you've done all this. So remember, you only show homes, so what kind of buyers? A buyers, ready, willing, and able. Ready, willing, and able, and loyal. Yeah, grade A.
I've said in the past, like if I don't know the people, I'm like, I'll have my mom follow me. Yep.
Wow, that's an extra step, but hey, that's,
I mean, but she has a flexible schedule, so I'm like, hey, mom, I just feel weird about, this, I don't know. I was like, I need you to follow me and then just be like down the street, and then whenever I'm done, she'll just do it.
yeah,
A little bit after me, so it's not.
I've done that for other.
Yeah.
Agents too.
Yeah.
I followed this one girl. She was going into a prop, and I don't know why she did this. She was like, hey, can you meet me over here at the private room by East Central High School? And over there's a lot of properties that are landlocked. So you gotta go to a long road, like a long.
easement road or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see anything, right? Like, you're out there, you're in the middle of like nowhere. And I followed her, and she got in the darn truck with these guys. And so I was really freaking out. I'm on a private road, an easement, going out there, and so they panicked. They're like, hey, somebody's following us. And I was like, hey, it's me, what's up? She got so comfortable with the guys, right?
She was like, oh, it's cool, they're
Yeah,
fine.
like, they were fine, yeah, and I was like, okay, well, you told me to come out here, but I got worried, I was like, shit, these guys are dragging me out here, like, they know
Oh
I'm hard.
my gosh.
Dragging you out there. All I can say is just learn how to shoot a gun, carry a gun. Like whether you're for it or against it, I mean, you'll be for it if you get into a situation.
My husband's just not for me.
He didn't like you carrying?
Well, no, he just thinks that I'm gonna be pissed that someone took my parking spot or
Oh
something.
my God.
Hey, man,
Okay.
that might be good advice then.
Why are you hiding in there with me?
Re- Remember, deadly force is not authorized over a dispute for a parking spot. You have a bad temper.
I disagree with him, I think everybody should.
Yeah, no, he just joked. I've taken the classes, I just haven't done it. Like I
You won't need to. They're about to make it legal for everybody.
Yeah.
It's expected to. A lot of states are doing it now. Like we're not the first ones. You have a 38 Lady Smith? You have a 38 Lady Smith? That's an excellent freaking gun, man. That
But you know what?
top notch.
As much as I'm pro carry, I think everybody should go to class.
Oh God, yeah. No, I don't like the whole.
Yeah.
I like the licensing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because you have to prove that you know how to shoot.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. More people shoot themselves though by accident than anybody else. Shoot themselves in the leg and wherever else they stick their gun.
My late husband's gun. Problem is I can't handle that. It's a 6-hour 9mm. I can't pull it back.
Yeah.
I tried, and no matter what I do, I cannot pull it back. It's fully loaded right now, but
Yeah, no.
I can't hold everything back.
Look, people get crazy. Like you don't need a service revolver. Okay, a service revolver, or a service pistol. Like a lot of the bigger ones are service pistols. It's like a Beretta. That's what people carry around, but that's like for cops, for military. It's not for concealed carry. Like concealed carry, you usually need one shot. So a revolver, that 38 is perfect. That's all you need. And it's easy to carry.
That other gun, I couldn't shoot it.
I wouldn't carry. I wouldn't. I mean, those are fun to shoot and, it's good for practice, but they're not like something you're going to carry. So, yeah, a lot of people get that wrong
But I can't load.
or can't conceal.
Yeah.
But I see people trying to conceal a Beretta, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's gigantic. Okay, so in the car, when showing homes, it's best if the client rides with you or follows you. If the client is riding with you, ask the following question as you enter a neighborhood. So what do you think of the neighborhood? If the client does not like the neighborhood, simply say, great. Then let's move on. It's been my experience when people don't like a neighborhood, they don't buy the home. So that we don't waste your time, I recommend we move to the next home on the tour. What do you say? So nowadays they say to go ahead and cancel it and make a phone call. Now you just tick, tick on the app, right? Cancel, buyer no longer interested in home, and you move on. What they're trying to do here is teach you to teach your buyer that this is a process of elimination. Buying a home is not a process of selection. The selection is already made by the 6 that fit your criteria. You're going to pick one of those homes. You're only going to buy one home. There's no need to rank them. It's either number 1 or number 2 or it gets thrown in the trash. That's it. Top 1 and top 2 only. If the client likes the neighborhood, drive in front of the home and ask, do you like the curb appeal? If the client does not like the curb appeal, simply say, great, then let's move on. It's been my experience when people don't like the exterior, they won't buy the home. Unless it's something like it just needs some mulch or some, whatever. But if they just don't like the way the house looks, no point in seeing it, right? So that we don't waste your time, I recommend we move on to the next house on the tour. What do you say? If the client likes the neighborhood and the curb appeal, walk up to the home, ring the doorbell, unlock the door, identify yourself, take a step back and encourage the client to enter by saying, go in and look around. Open any door and turn on any light you want. I'm going to trail behind you so you can view the home. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Note, do not play tour guide. Your role is to tour the home with a discerning, logical eye so you can discover things an excited client will miss. You're also making sure that the home contains all the needs and wants that appear in the MLS printout. As you trail behind, turn off lights turned on by the client. You should also point out any special features such as concerns or defects you find. So again, you're not an inspector. Don't pretend to be an inspector. You can't buy this home. There's a crack right there, and it's probably a foundation problem. Hey, if you're not an engineer, don't even bring it up. If they ask you, hey, are these what do you think all these cracks are? That looks like settling to me, but could be a foundation issue. But we're going to have it inspected. The most money you're going to lose is what you pay for an inspection and what you pay in option money. So never be afraid to write offers and have these things checked out. We're going to inspect and vet every home. Okay, so as the home tour ends, say, could you see yourself living in this home? No, it's too small. So if it's too small, is there anything else? It has no view. So you feel it's too small and has no view. Is there anything else? No. Let's play a game. If you had to buy a home today and this was the only home available, and it very well might be, right? Would you buy it? And it's either a yes or a no. So if it's a yes, this becomes the home to which the next home is compared. That's it. Not ranked, just compared 1-to-1. If no, tear the showing package in half and move on to the next home. I like to crumple them up. Some people like to tear them. Tearing the showing package sends a dramatic and fun visual message that the home is no longer a viable option. All right, scratch, process of elimination. We started with 6, we're trying to get down to 1 or 2. Closing dialogue. Do you remember in our first meeting when I said one thing I expect from you was to have fun? Great, then let's play a game. I don't know if you want to go this far, but if you had to buy a home today and this was the only home available, would you buy it? Yes, great. We have 6 more homes on the tour. Would you like to see the others? Or shall we see how this looks on paper? And you only do this if they're really excited about the home. But don't talk them out of it. Some realtors will be like, no, we have to see them all before you make a decision. If they say we want this home, go make it happen. Turn around, do all the little cancellations, and go back and write it up. Okay. So another type of close, do you like this home better than the previous home? If you get a yes, tear home number 1 showing package in half as number 2 becomes the home to which number 3 is compared. If no, tear number 2 in half as number 1 remains the home to which number 3 is going to be compared. Does that make sense? You have one reigning champion and that's it. Everybody else gets trashed, except for maybe one backup. continue this focus process until one showing package remains. So at the end of the day, you have a bunch of torn up paper and no house.
No, that-
None of them.
You have to keep, okay, we're gonna rank them because this is how we're gonna put it on offers.
I'm gonna write notes all the way up.
Dude, the funniest thing is when people go, well, I like this house, but not on that lot. I'm like, well, and if we have, you can't do that. So pick one.
It wouldn't be.
What's exactly, what's more important, the lot or the house? It's a good question. Okay, so continue this focus process until one or two showing packages remain. Note, if the client doesn't like any of the homes or the criteria changes along the way, go back through the needs analysis phase of the process. So this is why you want to have that criteria sheet that's been filled out. Because if everything you show them doesn't fit, okay, well, this is what you said you wanted. Now we need to tweak this. Let's tweak it. A lot of times it's price. They just don't like what they see. They go out, they look at a bunch of houses and they're like, nothing really jumped out. Well, you need to go up in price. That's really the only cure. You don't, I mean, you have, hopefully they have, they probably have champagne taste and you're showing them beer budget houses, you know. Hopefully they have a champagne budget. You could show them champagne budget houses. Okay, close to the offer. Can someone read this with me? It is unacceptable to leave the client's money on the table. Once the perfect home has been found, close with. Someone read that?
Shall we see how it looks on paper?
I want to think about it.
Great. Not gonna work.
Yeah.
I definitely think that is what you should do. Let me ask you one question. Though, if this home sells tonight, are you going to be okay with that? I mean, someone may have looked at this home last night, thought about it, slept on it, prayed about it, and is in an agent's office right now writing an offer. It'll be okay if it sells. Or I'll be okay if it sells. I just want to make sure you will.
Yes, I'll be okay if it sells.
Then what's our plan B just in case it sells? Do we have a backup?
No, we don't have one. All right, so pretty simple.
Go see more.
Oh, God. But I got these 6 alerts.
How about you take a nap and then you
What about this one? What about this one? Right.
sleep and take a nap?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you need some time? Okay, go outside for 5 minutes. Take as much time as you want. We got 5 minutes left. Write it up on the spot. Oh, yeah. That's when it's good to have a transaction coordinator that writes offers. You just text them the details. They already have the client's details. You just need to send them the property and the price. Done. That's the. Then I just get copied on an email that goes out with the offer and the approval letter, and I'm like, that was easy. I have a team one, yeah. But if
Yeah, let me know. I like those ladies, but I still don't trust them.
Yeah, because they're wicked.
They're real cheap.
But they have to hang their license somewhere. It's kind of what it is, I'm sure.
So here's another close and something that I've put into practice before. It works pretty well. So then since we're, what's that? Oh. What's that?
Well, I mean, they have, in
The
order,
transaction coordinator.
they're realtors, but I think that's a benefit because they can't, there's only so much a transaction coordinator can do if they're not an agent. So they're just hanging their license up, like we have a referral company here for agents that don't do real estate anymore, and someone could hang their license and just refer stuff, right? So they may have a family member that comes from them and they refer things, but I mean, if you look under the license, are they completing transactions?
Yeah, it's probably better if they have access to all the forms and everything you need anyway. They're not going to steal your clients, hopefully. Make sure you know where they live in case they do. What's your home address? Why do you need my home address? If you steal my client, I'm going to come by and burn it down.
I screenshotted all their information. I wanted to talk to them.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you this, if you use them, and I'm not saying that they're not, what I do know that they're probably going to do is they have your client's information, right? So those people are going into their database. They're going into their database, they're going to be reaching out to them. Not in that transaction, but they'll be getting stuff from, I'm just telling you. That's what people do.
But they're not actively selling, so why would they do that?
They might take that information and use it or market to them or something.
They'll always continue to market.
Yeah, I would have an agreement to where you don't market to these people after the transaction's closed. It's, yeah. These are good things to bring up because the transaction coordinator thing is kind of new. It's more of a newer concept. I mean, it's been around for a long time, but not as popular. But now people are so damn busy, you don't have time to stop what you're doing and write a freaking offer. You got to keep showing houses. And it's honestly, it's not the highest and best use of your time. If you can pay somebody $400 out of an $8,000 commission to do that critical part for you, it's not the highest and best use of your time. You might as well be out and about. But I understand the hesitation. I'm the same way, even with people I know and trust.
Yeah, but I do think it's important to have somebody like that, so you can continue to do the things that you're good at.
No, definitely.
Most realtors, let's be honest, most realtors kind of suck.
We hate the paperwork.
Yeah, no, it's the worst part of the job. Hate it.
think
I didn't get into this business to do paperwork.
Sorry, we put it into.
No, that's all good. No, we need to talk about these things. I mean, it's important and relevant. So here's something that I've used in the past. Since we're here together, my advice is let's complete the contract. I'll send it home with you. If you decide you want to make an offer, then when you wake up tomorrow, call me and I will pick it up immediately. This way we don't waste any unnecessary time. How does that sound? Okay, 2021 update. What you want to do is write this up, send it over in DocuSign or .loop, and then it's in their inbox. If you decide you want to buy it, all you have to do is click on the email link and sign it, and I'll submit it. If you don't, then I'll void it out, and that's the end of it. So I've done that before. And mostly because when I get home that night, I just want to write the offer because the next day, if they decide to write the offer, I might be out and about. You know, when I was doing it myself.
Broker taught us to do it. He said, even if you know the house is already under contract, or you're not gonna get it, write it anyway, because that's your opportunity to go. They're already there with you.
Yeah, might as well.
You might as well take that time to do it, because again, tomorrow, when you're gonna do it, you might be with kids or with another client. Or
Yeah.
something like that, you're not gonna have that time. So if you have that time, just take, even if you know in your mind that house is already gone, just do it.
Yeah, that's what I do too. It doesn't take much time, and it keeps them, it actually breaks them out of that fear of doing an offer, because by the time they sign the fifth offer, they're not even reading them anymore. That first one, they read through it. Second one, they check the filled in, the blanks, make sure it's the right address and price. After a while, they don't even read them. So it stops them from being hesitant too. It gets them warmed up to signing an offer, and it's not life ending, you know? So good stuff.
It's funny because one time I did it to a friend of mine. He used to be a realtor, he's a client of mine too. And I put on there that on the buyer's rep, that he would agree to pay me 3% of the sales price and above, but.
Did he sign it? See? And he's a realtor. He's got no excuse. You should have read that.
Yeah.
You tricked me.
Yeah.
You signed
It
it.
was a good deal. He got it.
That's funny, man. That's
But
good.
it just kind of show that he was not
paying
reading.
attention.
Read that, man. Nobody reads anything. All right. So lowball offers, and this could be a reality right now. You know, people that want to pay asking price, they're out of touch with reality, right? They want to pay asking price. So the buyer wants to make an offer that is extremely below market, verified motivation by asking, we can do that, but are you looking for a home or are you looking for a deal? Both, of course. Are you prepared to lose the home trying to get a deal? No, I want the home. Great. Let me tell the seller what you're willing to offer so that we don't offend him or her and get into a counter situation and allow someone else to sneak in and submit a better offer. If this is your perfect home, let's not take any chances. Let's make your first offer your best offer. What I would use in this case is right now, there's one house for every 4 buyers or so roughly. So we have a very low inventory. So the deal is getting the house that you want. And that's really the deal. If you can get the house you want, 85% of what you want in it, you're in good shape. That's the best it gets right now in this market. Buyer, so on lowball offers, what do you mean by offend? If we can't justify our offer price beyond what we're looking for a deal, the message we're communicating is to the seller, you have to lose for us to win. Creating an adversary from the beginning may not be the best approach, given we are probably going to be asking the seller to make certain repairs and/or concessions once under contract. That's true. One way or another, you're going to get it. I mean, a little different right now, but it'll swing back to this. Understand I am going to support you in all you tell me to do. However, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't inform you of the potential consequences that go along with the approach you're suggesting. So what would you like to do? Again, you want to steer them to get a certain answer, to a certain answer. So success stems from duplicable processes and systems. So you got to have a process. If you don't have a process, you become part of their process. You become part of their process, it's probably going to be chaos. Probably. Unless you're dealing with an engineer or somebody really methodical who knows how to go through the real estate purchase and or selling process, which they probably don't. So you're the expert. You come up with the system and implement it. So some thank you letters or an email. This is an example of one that you might send out after the first meeting. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I really appreciate you entrusting me with the duty of helping you find your perfect home. That makes it sound serious now, duty, like you're in the military or something, right? I enjoyed meeting and spending time with you, and I look forward to our journey in getting your perfect home. Yeah, it's going to be a journey, all right. At this time, you may be asking yourself, what comes next? Here's a checklist of our upcoming activities. View homes that meet needs, make an offer, negotiate offer, finalize offer, open title. They don't need to know all that crap, but people be like, what? What's open title mean? I forget that part. Inspect home, negotiate repairs. Okay, so this is a tough one, but it's always worth writing them something just in case, because you never know when they're going to become dissatisfied with the agent who lied to them and told them what they wanted to hear. When they realize you were genuine and you had a process, they could very well come back to you. So, but it's always tough. You know, you want to curse them out and tell them, thank you for wasting my time. But although we won't be working together, I wish you success in the purchase of your next home. If I can ever be a future service to you or anyone you know, please feel free to contact me. I enjoy meeting and spending time with you. And remember, high achievement always takes place in the framework of high expectation. So again, the complete buyer's file, buyer criteria sheet, my roles, your roles, buyer's representation agreement, contract, addenda, blah, 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 blah. You need all this for Carl anyway to get paid, so you might as well start collecting it, even an electronic file. That's what I do now. I'm like, damn it. I always had somebody do compliance stuff for me. Now I have to do it, save all these freaking documents. Yeah, I mean, vendor sheet, you want to add all your contacts and everyone else in the transaction. By the way, how many people's hands are in the average real estate transaction? Do you guys know? How many different people touch it?
Probably about, like you said it before?
I think so.
About 32.
32 hands, but about 15 different people, 15 to 20 different people, if you really think about it. All the people at title, the lender, inspector, appraiser, termite guy, repair guy, the buyer, the seller, buyer's agent, listing agent, brokers if they're involved, transaction coordinators if they're involved. There's a lot of people saying.
I mean,
So
just in the lending process alone, there's probably 4 or 5 people.
usually an assistant, a processor, a loan officer, an underwriter. Yeah, about 4 people. Then title, you got probably 3 at least. You have your underwriter, examiner, your escrow agent, escrow assistant, I mean, there's a lot of people if you really think about it.
Surveyor, his assistant.
Appraiser, those assholes, whoever they work with. And they go back into their lair at the end of the night, their lair.
Dude, I'm gonna be in the freezer. Let me talk about it.
Well, I hope you can change the industry, man.
Have you researched about this? 204 hours. I can't do it.
No, the problem is that the problem with the appraisers and why there's not enough of them is because there's not, you have to do internship.
Yeah, they had the internship. You're right. It's hard to find people to sponsor you.
No appraisers that want to take on, they don't want to be mentored. They don't have time to do it.
Right. Well, you got to pay them too. You got to pay them a cut. So yeah, the smart ones will because it's residual income, but especially if they're going to retire soon. I mean, it's But right now, they can't even handle what they got, you know, it's, but I guess the reason I asked that question is, who's in charge of everybody and making sure this gets to closing? Nobody. You better be.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to hold people accountable, like everybody. Even it's almost kind of like overstepping your bounds in a way, but you got to. That's why you got to have thick skin in this business, and you can't be an apologist. You just have to plow through people. Just go, Mr. freaking escrow officer, you need to get your shit together. I saw that lender emailed you 2 days ago, and you haven't gotten back to them with the damn with the preliminary HUD, you know, or whatever. I need you to get on this ASAP, please. And then it's not even your freaking title company, man. And they get offended, but I don't care, man. I tell them. That lender told me I can't get a hold of this title company. I'm calling the listing agent. I'm calling that escrow officer. Get your crap together. Hey, you pick this title company. Your title company's delaying this closing. Oh, okay, yeah. Hold them all accountable. It's like herding cats, you know, like a bunch of cats. They all want to run in a different direction. That's pretty much it, guys. Very important process, though. Seriously, I mean, buyer conversion, having a process for this, whew, super important. But a lot of people think that it's just not relevant anymore. You know, we kind of just react to showing requests. But